who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonder's Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello and welcome, everybody. For those of you watching at worldofwonder.net, this is a very visual version because we have Emmys here on the table of the Wow Report.
Congratulations to you. Yay. Congratulations to you.
So, I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder. Joining me, special guest, Randy Barbado, my partner in crime.
Co-founder, Randy.
After an all-nighter.
And one of the executive producers of RuPaul's Drag Race, which just won an Emmy for Best Reality Competition.
What a night. What a night.
Oh, my God.
The primetime Emmys were on Monday, and we were there. They make you wait so long. So here's the thing. You normally, we count down the top 10 things that make us go, wow. And with usual modesty and self-effacingness, we've decided that items 10, 9, and 8
Number 10.
will all be about us and the Emmys.
Yes.
In fact, we won't even count them. We'll just do a blowout, triple.
I think actually we'll be providing a public service because we were there and we have all these like kind of forensic details to share.
Correct.
Yeah.
Little nuggets of gossip that nobody else knows.
So we've got Tom Campbell, also winner of Best Reality
baby.
Show.
Winner, chicken dinner.
I love the picture of you on the treadmill this morning.
I was working out at the gym with my Emmy because it's great everywhere you go. You get so many compliments.
Are you gonna get? It'll get you laid, right? I'm sure.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Didn't?
No, I said yes, it will.
I didn't yet.
I just said yes, it will.
Hope springs eternal. And James St. James, you are an award-winning author, so it's highly appropriate.
But
that you are
not
here
like
with
this,
us.
boy. This is something to aspire to. This is amazing.
Well, I just realized as trophies go, primetime seems to command a whole other level of excitement and respect. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, you weren't there, James.
No, but I watched, and I gotta say that, because I was online at the same time, I was going back and forth from Twitter to, Instagram and everything, and the amount of love that was shown to everybody is just, it's unbelievable. It's such a beautiful feeling. Everybody was pulling for you, and then that gorgeous shot of Ru holding it in the air.
Which blocked my face, by the way, but go ahead. Yes.
No. There were other ones that we saw your
I'm
face,
joking.
and then your son, did you see his Instagram post about Daddy winning the Emmy?
I did. It
brought
Really
tears to my
crying.
eyes. That was absolutely wonderful. It was really an exciting night, and I just want to hear everybody's take on it.
Let's break down the day because it is
Okay, yeah, it's a
there's
long-
all these parties leading up to it, which I went to like one, but just that
That's in the
alone
weeks ahead,
is
right? In the weeks
exhausting.
to
The
come.
weekend, there's an HCA party, there's an Entertainment Weekly party, blah blah blah. But the day of, we get a hotel room. We got one at a hotel right near the venue. And Theron, who is not here with us today, but Theron does everything at World of Wonder. And Theron was there, I think, at 7 a.m. to set
7
it
a.m.
up.
He was.
It's something, it's a place for us all to chill. Ru has the room to change. Michelle comes. Carson comes.
And they had
Ross
a cheese
comes.
plate.
And Ru's like in his pajamas or in his sweats
He
when
was
you
in his
get there.
sweats.
Like we're all dressed up.
Yes.
And Ru's in his sweats hanging out
And he's like-
up until the very last minute. And then he's like, oh, excuse me.
Yes.
And walks, just walks into the bathroom
Yeah.
for like 5 minutes.
Yep.
And comes out like
In
decked
that
out.
Calvin
Yes.
Klein
right?
Warhol
Well,
white
right.
suit.
It was a Calvin Klein suit, completely white, and he had them print it with the Warhol Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, but
Like in blocks.
Yeah, the whole collection is a Warhol theme this year, and I thought it
fabulous.
tied in beautifully because you guys have the Statue of Liberty
Yeah.
show coming up, and it just seemed like it was just seamless.
But he was also wearing bright orange nylon. They were like the same material that traffic cones are made out of.
Yeah. They were Calvin Klein too.
They were gorgeous.
They
It was
were
really
gorgeous.
stunning.
It was
Yes.
all so like 80s New York. It really was. I
Yes,
mean, he
right.
looked like, don't you remember the Dayglow moment
Yes,
in the
it's
80s in New
sure,
York? It
yeah.
was like-
And also that silk screen printing. It's that sort of that rough and ready feel. And, seeing the Statue of Liberty, as you say, James, well, this is a great moment culturally for the Statue of Liberty anyway, given where we are right
Yes.
now.
So then,
But
you're
just-
in the hotel.
And my favorite moment was we had this beautiful light coming in the hotel.
We
So
did.
everyone spent the entire time in the hotel facing the light, taking everyone was like, I look amazing. So we took a lot of pictures.
So then
And-
we leave the hotel.
Yeah, so then we leave the hotel, and then you have to walk like 10 miles to the red carpet.
The gold
And-
carpet.
To the gold
You're right,
carpet.
you're right.
and it's very hot. So by the time you get there, and I'm not complaining. I mean, it was just. But by the time you get there, everybody is dripping.
But
I
you're
sweat
walking
through
down
my
the street with RuPaul. I mean, that's got to be something right there.
And it is. And for Ru, like. Literally, like people still think of Ru like as an amusement park ride. Like they treat him like a different celebrity, and so he's
They
just.
feel they can like come up and pull a piece off.
and I
take
don't think that
pieces.
Ru likes that very much.
Well,
or-
I mean,
He knows how to
doesn't-
manage it.
And he does.
It's
just exhausting.
Yes, of
because
course.
he has to be on the whole time, and so even before we got to the gold carpet, it was like that was a lot of work. And Theron had brought some fans, so we had fans and
They
umbrellas.
were great. Yes, Darren and Ron bought these fans, which were fun. It is so baking hot, and it's under a white fabric roof, and there are some fans, but you don't
Not
really
enough.
and then
feel-
the lights, they have the lights going,
Yes.
and so
So you're
I
being
imagine that
broiled
yes.
alive.
RuPaul's suit had the sort of the prints of the Statue of Liberty. I just did like a Rorschach sweat print on my shirt, like full out. Like before I even started, I was like, well, I've got a sweaty shirt for the entire awards.
Now, but are you in your bubble right there going on the carpet, or are you aware of everybody around you and what they're wearing? Because there were some
We're
outfits that
aware of everyone around, right?
Yes.
Don't you think we're
Totally.
like so aware? Because it's great because we don't have the pressure that Ru does. Like Ru is
Right.
like Ru's
Interview,
working,
interview,
and
interview.
we're like, oh my
We're standing around
god, look at
watching.
you.
Watching.
Did you guys get to see Tracy Ellis Ross as she walked the carpet? Did you see that big pink thing that she was wearing?
We didn't see her on the carpet. It's all timing and people go in kind of
Right,
groups.
okay.
But we had people going back and forth. There's a lot of looky-loos. We also ran into John Pauly, Bruce McCoy,
Yes.
Mandy. Like we all meet on the gold carpet, and then we're all kind of standing back and watching. And then someone comes along and goes, will you please walk along? And we go, yes. And then we just stay right where we are and keep doing whatever we want. But I love that it's not just like microphones on the end of the carpet. It's like every outlet, every media outlet has like a little barracks, a little
booth.
Yes. And so it's quite a production.
And then, so you do this whole, the line, the gauntlet, and then we did this last year too. There's this little place. Then you go back into the theater, and there's a place to hang out.
just outside the VIP lounge.
Yeah, and so you walk through a gauntlet of all the seat fillers who are all beautiful, all sweet, and
like
young.
lining the hall.
Yeah, and
They see
you're like,
everybody.
hey, and then we found this little place to hang out, and it's so like being at high school at the most popular table in the lunchroom, and you are there, and every celebrity who is there has to pass you. So it's like you are.
Right.
We
And
just.
they all have to say hi to Ru.
And there's
they
perfect
all do.
lighting, and there's like a window with perfect lighting, and so Ru chats, and then Theron's like, "Hey, can we get a picture?" And Ru's like, "Oh, there's the
Alison
lights."
Janney, right?
Yeah, that was-
Jennifer Lewis wearing her fantastic
yeah.
Nike
She was the
statement.
winner. She was the red carpet
the
winner.
Nike thing, right?
She
Yeah,
wore
that was
sweats,
fabulous.
Nikes, and a bedazzled Nike sweatshirt.
At first, I was a little irritated. I was like, dress up. And then I realized what she
No,
was doing. And I thought, no,
huge
that is
statements.
absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect.
And there's
humor,
a
too.
great moment where they're taking a group shot with, Ross and Carson and Michelle and Ru with Alison Janney. And in the background is Justin Timberlake. I swear to you, he's looking at Ru's ass.
and there's our
Justin
tidbit, our
and
first tidbit
Jessica
right
were
there.
the only ones. There was a certain bottleneck at that time, and we weren't able to kind of maneuver them toward us. But there was this great picture that our publicist Michael Fabiani, who took a picture of him, and they caught Justin doing what you said. It's sort of like, who's bringing sexy back?
Jessica really looked really fantastic,
Yeah.
though. She looked beautiful. So what we're getting...
Well,
so
wait.
okay.
So now it's like, what is it now? 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock? The show starts
Barely.
at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a long show.
It
So
is a
we're,
very
we're
long
all
show.
sat in our seats.
Rue and Michelle are close to the front.
I have willed myself not to pee for 3 hours.
Me too. I did too.
I
I
just
don't know
didn't
how
want to
you
leave.
do it. I don't know how you would.
And I kept saying to everyone because I figured, first of all, I didn't want to think that we would win, but I kind of felt like
good.
it felt good.
Randy was
But I
playing
also
games with
thought-
himself. We're not
I
winning,
was
we're
like,
gonna win. What are we gonna
we
do?
win. It's a win-win.
We
If
had
we
a
lose,
line.
We win.
Win
If
or
we-
lose, it's a story.
yeah,
That's what we're saying.
that's
Win or
right,
lose,
exactly.
it's a story.
But to our team, I was like, okay, if we win, you gotta run. You gotta run. We gotta run. I was like to Mandy and to Misha, I'm like, take your heels off. This is a moment. Like you have to run on the one hand, but on the other hand, in your mind, you need to make it feel everything in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
You need to kind of absorb every single second of it.
Meanwhile,
because it truly,
Time is is crawling. Like, there must have been 1,000 3-minute commercial breaks, and you watch that clock go, because they have a big screen, a big clock that says when the show's starting again, because it was live, and you watch it counting down from 3 minutes 30, 3 minutes 29. I watched that clock, I don't know how many times.
And it seems like it's going backwards. Backwards
4
again.
minutes, 3 minutes.
And then, of course, they come up and say, your words are next after the next commercial break. And suddenly, you need to take a big poo.
So just let it rip. So they call RuPaul's Drag Race. You hear it. You actually hear it. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. And I'm the weirdo who, like, at home watching the Grammys as a child, or at, like, a sporting event at high school, even if I didn't play that sport, and the honor goes to, I kept thinking they'd say my name. And they actually said, RuPaul's Drag Race.
And in that moment, I'm like trying to get everybody around. I was
like,
running.
let's go.
Yeah, like,
You're the mother duck. You're trying to herd the little duckling.
Well, they warn you 45 seconds and...
yes.
Now, but it does. You had to know though that you're going into it. There was the headwind with RuPaul, and that you had.
Yes,
a
but
very
you can always,
good
and you can still
chance.
lose.
And you can always lose. Exactly. And we have.
I
many
didn't. I
times.
never thought for a second that you guys were going to lose this year. I
Oh,
knew that it was going to happen.
So once you win the award, and we're all there, and I stomped to the front. I did. I stomped to the front. But you guys are very well featured behind Ru. Ru did a beautiful speech. He looked amazing. And then they rush you backstage. You're in like a maze is the only way I can describe it. It's a production maze. It's like tape on the floor with arrows and someone walking you, and there's a thank you cam. And we're even more speechless at the thank you cam than we were, like, because you're just like, we just won an award. And Connie Britton's waiting. It's sort of like a scene from The Player, because she's like, hi, you guys. And when you win an award, suddenly Connie Britton, you have no, like, I'm not shy at all. I'm like, Connie, we won. She goes, congratulations. Thank you, Connie.
Well, everybody becomes your best friend afterwards. Everywhere you go, you are instantly the most popular
There's like
girl.
some more interviews. They shuffle us all, and then the most amazing thing I thought was Ru's performance in the general press room.
Yes.
I mean, I wish there could be a show in itself.
Well,
It was-
but here's
Press room.
here's a piece of trivia, because there is a journalist,
Jeannie Wolf.
who in the
I love Jeannie Wolf.
Well-
who was she
She was on the Gossip Show for years.
Yes.
Wasn't she lovers with
with
didn't she like a famous lesbian, and she was lovers with I don't know if she was Cynthia McFadden or
You're
something?
thinking Liz Smith.
No, I'm not.
Liz Smith and Cynthia McFadden were together.
Okay, anyway.
Well, she is fabulous.
But she was on the
And
Gossip Show.
It was very
Yes.
funny because all of us were piled onto the stage, right?
Yes.
And there's questions, and Ru's like, "Who's got a question?" He's just, sorts out Israel, sorts out China, and then it's like she stands up and says, "Jeannie Wolf," and like the entire all of us.
Whoa, legendary.
And that's when only with RuPaul's Drag Race would people give a standing ovation to Jeannie Wolf. It's a great moment.
We get one Emmy on the stage. You go back, and there is a sea of Emmys at one point, one of the stops, and you're like, oh my God. And they have the list. It's very official. You sign. They have a name. If you're eligible, you sign. You get your blank Emmy, and then at the party.
broken already. You see
Oh
that?
no! And then at the party, there was like this this mile-long counter.
It's called the Winner's Circle.
the Winner's Circle with
It's
men
called the
in
Winner's
gloves,
Circle.
and they
hot men in gloves.
yes, and that's true.
They were all hot.
And they attach your name and everything. And
Really?
And
I
they give it-
did you proofread yours? I proofread every word.
Oh, I get-
the
they
Academy
get-
of Television Arts
there it
and
is, there it
Science.
is.
I was like, I couldn't read. I didn't have my glasses. I was like, yeah, it looks fine. And then they
actually-
give it a polish. They polish a knob.
I actually, I just posted a videotape of them doing ruse.
we should put that on
Oh,
the
we'll put it
Wow
on
report.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, now I want to hear some gossip about the parties, because you went to the Vanity Fair party, you went to the Netflix party, you went to the governor's balls, you went to
The Governor's Ball
Fifi
first.
Lazar had a party.
The Governor's Ball was a blast. Mandy Salangzang, who also won, Stephen Corfer also won, Mish also won, and Jacqueline. It was like it was
very
Now,
wow.
but are
yeah.
the stars, are they starstruck by RuPaul when they see Ru?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, he's the star's star.
Yeah,
You know what I
he's
mean?
like what Warhol
they
was.
could
He's
fat
the
out.
star.
And
Exactly.
here's the thing that you, even like at the governor's ball, but even that party we went to the night before, the Tom Arnold
It's
party.
called the night before, right?
The night
Tom
before
Arnold
party.
attacked
Mark Burnett.
Mark Burnett party.
Which, by the way, I
We
think
were
we
this close.
called that before it
Yes.
happened because don't you remember we walked by Tom Arnold and I'm like, look at Tom Arnold. He looks like I felt like it was 1984 and he was like totally coked up. I was like, what is going on? He was that way.
Allegedly.
No, I'm just saying he looked that way.
Not saying that he
Okay,
was.
okay.
Then we were doing a lap. And then we saw Mark Burnett, and I'm like, wait, he's with a security guard. Do you
Yes.
remember I said that to you? I was
And you said, why does he
that
need a
is so
security guard?
weird.
I'm like,
what is he doing with a security guard?
Because he loves Trump.
And then 15 minutes later.
And I think, you see, I don't think the fact that he had a security guard is that weird because I think his life is in danger. Not in danger, but I think people are gonna. I think there are many people who want to give him a shove or give him slap his face.
A little backstory here.
Mark Burnett is the producer, creator of The Apprentice.
And Tom Arnold has now said that Ronan Farrow is in possession of the tapes in which Trump says the N-word and calls his son the R-word.
Right. There are supposedly tapes of Trump misspeaking in all
but
sorts
now
of
we
ways,
have those tapes,
which Mark
apparently.
Burnett has declined to release. And in Hollywood, really, that's a shame.
But Tom Arnold says that now Ronan Farrow has
And Tom
the tapes.
Arnold is doing a TV show for Viceland, and it's all based on collecting tapes. It's all a sort of anti-Trump show.
Yeah.
Now, the problem, it's a great idea in theory. It's just do we want Tom Arnold to be our
Next president?
Yeah, it's I just wish it was Ronan who was doing the show for
I do
Viceland.
too. I do
right?
too. Yeah.
Then it would anyway. Whatever.
It's natural. We have to wrap it up according to Blake, our mic-less assistant.
gosh.
I will just say that thank
Maybe
you
wait,
to...
hold on. Do we
I'm
need to
going.
do another segment in which we talk some more about? I mean, should we just
Can
do
I just
all
say
three?
Can I just say one thing? Because I'm going to leave. I have to go. I have things to do.
Oh.
But
Excuse us.
just on the party front, this is my we went to the HBO party. We went to the Netflix party, which we got booted at. Or the Netflix party got shut down because there were too many people there. But the best thing is you bring your trophy. And Fenton was like, I am not bringing my trophy. And I'm like, of course, yes, you are. You bring it with you.
I
and
thought
it
it was
opens
singularly
doors.
immodest to be walking around with
No,
a trophy.
If there's
That's
one
me.
night of the year you can walk
That is
around
what
with
you
a
do.
trophy.
I've been walking around with it all week.
Yeah,
You know what I
and-
did? I inverted it and I used it to put my cheese plate on.
He did do that. But here's
love a
the
cheese
weird
plate.
thing. You walk into, even at the governor's ball or at the HBO party,
Yes.
you walk in and there's 1,000 people. They're all industry people, and yet they are enamored.
I tell you, people-
The number of times I took pictures of other people holding this Emmy, I barely. No one took a picture of me with it.
No, exactly
I took
right.
about 1,000
Exactly right.
pictures of people.
And they're like,
with
can I
my
hold
Emmy.
it? Do you mind taking a picture of me?
I was loaning mine out all night. Ross was like,
hot.
only
Yes.
time I borrow your Emmy. Only time I borrow your Emmy. But I brought it to the gym, and everyone takes a picture. Everyone's so happy. And I got to tell you, just online, my high school friends, there's something I'm not being falsely modest. An award is a great moment in my personal life to just reflect on everybody who's helped me get someplace, which is a lot of people. But it's amazing for the show because it says that a gay and lesbian, an LGBT show is in the mainstream. That's amazing. But I love that it excites everybody. Strangers, your high school friends, your brother and sister, just everybody who's known you. They get a
finally
little, they
you
get
are
a piece of
validated.
it. No, but they're touched. It's a win for everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like the People's Trophy.
Yes.
I really.
And you said every time a drag queen gets
Every time a drag queen gets a trophy, an angel gets her wings.
And he
Wig,
gets a wig.
wings.
Okay, we have to take a quick break. Here's a trivia question, okay? Who has won in the Emmys Best Reality Competition Show and Best Host?
Wait, let me think.
We'll have the answer for you right after the break.
Wow,
You're
it's
listening to
Randy,
Trivia.
come back again.
Oh, no,
It's
please.
fun having Randy here.
You're listening to
know
the
what I'm
Wow
taking
Report.
this with me.
Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Hey, welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, here with Tom Campbell, our Chief Creative Officer, and James St. James, literary sensation of God, right? And we are counting down the top 10 things that made us go, wow! We had a little bit of a format busting. We did 10, 9, and 8 all in one go. It was a sort of Emmy orgy look back. It was a pretty great night. But I asked you guys a trivia question because only one person in Emmy history has ever won Best Reality Competition Show and Best Host.
Can we say it? 3, 2, 1.
RuPaul.
That's right.
That's not a humble brag, and I like that. It's what they call a brag.
It's an actual fact. There was a very funny piece in the Emmys
Factual
when
brag.
they would go to Maya and who was the other guy?
Oh, Fred Armisen. It was just such a horrible, dreary.
It
made
played
no
well in the
sense.
room.
It did play well
But it
in
made
the room.
no sense on TV, and
Right.
everybody was scratching their head like these two are improvisational geniuses. Why can they not get it together to pull this joke off?
You
Are we
good?
good?
You good? Are we good? We laughed. We were in a good mood.
We were easily amused, I guess.
Yeah.
But don't they have a show that they're promoting?
Yes, there was a big Lauren Michael commercial last night, which is okay.
All right. So we've reached number 7.
Number 7.
Breaking news from Cambridge, Massachusetts, Harvard University, my alma mater. Yes, I'm mentioning I went to Harvard again, James. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm going to work on that after the show. But I was
With
in
your Emmy.
As many of you listening know and remember, I was in an all-male a cappella group at Harvard called the Harvard Din and Tonics.
It's such a clever name.
Not gin and tonics, din and tonics.
I guess
Din,
tonic.
a noise, tonic, a beautiful sound. Can
you explain Hasty Pudding?
Hasty Pudding is a theatrical group that I was not part of, that they write their own show. And the Hasty Pudding, for years and years and years, this has just changed part of my story, it was all men on, because it was Harvard, it was all male school at one point. So it was men playing men and women roles. So there was drag.
Why was it called Hasty Pudding?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I have to look that up.
Isn't that a British thing? Isn't it?
Probably.
I don't know what a pudding. I know what a pudding is,
Well,
but
that-
a hasty one.
And that goes back years and years and years. The Dins were founded in 1979, which is a long time ago. But until that point, there was only one a cappella group at Harvard called Crocodillos, and I still don't like them. But they're around. But
Sounds like Glee.
Yes, exactly. But the all-male Harvard Din and Tonics let in their first female member, a soprano, just this week, which is Harvard has final clubs that are like fraternities, but they're much more exclusive in a smaller part of the population, which were all male. And, Harvard and Radcliffe combined like in, 1975 or something. So it's a total co-ed school. We live in a world where men and women are equals. One could almost be president and female. And now, but still those institutions of a cappella and the Hasty Pudding, they're all allowing women in. Even the final clubs are allowing women in.
Just
strange
one
that-
woman, right?
It was the first. She's the icebreaker.
So it's solved.
And there are female, solved. But there are female a cappella groups. There were co-ed a cappella groups, and there were male a cappella groups. And there was a resistance for a long time because there was a different tonic sound by an all-male chorus. But and there are female groups. At the end of the day, you can debate it, but what the hell? I think it's time to mix things up.
I think so too. Yeah.
Right?
I was at boarding school, an all-boys boarding school, so this was a lucky break for me because when they did the plays, and we did the Shakespeare plays, boys needed to play the female roles. That was my first exposure to drag. And had girls been able to go to the school, I would not have played Titania, Queen of the
I was going to
Fairies.
say you made a spectacular Titania, and you're still talking about it to this day.
I
imagine that you were quite the hit
Honey,
among the boys.
I had wings. So.
Did you drag in college, James?
I did, but it wasn't anything official. It was.
What were you like in college?
Oh, I was a hellraiser.
Did you live on campus?
I did. I lived on Fifth Avenue at the Rubin dorms, and I was all the way down. And I've told you this before, how my room looked over Richard Gere's penthouse. And Richard Gere was living with Susan Sarandon at the time, and they would sunbathe nude. And I would charge $5. I had a pair of binoculars, and I would charge $5 to come and do it. And that's how I got my going out money. I would make like $100 a day, and I would go out and spend that. That was my booze money at night.
You're so much smarter than I am. The Harvard Din and Tonics.
Yes.
You can listen to them on the YouTube. But congratulations for letting a woman in. I let it roll. Let's mix things up. Let's change the power dynamic and be very inclusive. I
loved it, and I thought that was actually something that was amazing about the Emmys primetime show. It was very Me Too in terms of inclusiveness with women.
Yep.
I loved when who was it who got up and said, I want to thank God. She's amazing.
Oh, right.
Because that was
that
great...
Regina King? Was it?
It
Yeah.
was.
I think it was Regina.
It was Tandy
Newton,
who said,
yes.
"I don't know if I believe in God, but I want to thank her."
Oh, but that dress that Tandy wore, that pink with the
Yeah.
train. Oh, it was amazing.
gorgeous.
Yes.
All right, so moving on, James, number 6.
Number 6.
I saw probably the best movie of the year, maybe of the decade.
How do you always catch the best
I'm
movies
telling
of the
you,
year?
This might be the best movie of all time. I kid you not. A Simple Favor, starring Anna Kendrick, Blake Lively, and Henry Goulding, the hot guy from Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Anna Kendrick plays this uptight little mouse burger, and she's all in her little sweater sets and buttoned up, and she's very particular, and she's volunteering volunteers for everything at her son's school, and she's just a very uptight little girl. And then her son one day says he's going to have a play date with this other kid, and they have to get permission from the mother. And then all of a sudden you see this car pull up, and a Louboutin steps out, and the camera pans up, and it's like a Tom Ford tuxedo pantsuit, and it's Blake Lively with just this hair, that hair that she has, and she's smoking a cigarette, and she's swearing, and she's just brutally chic, darling, brutally chic. Okay, and she goes over to Anna Kendrick, and she sort of looks at this little mouse burger, and she's like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, no, I don't want to do this. And then she's like, well, we'll just go back and have martinis, whatever. And Anna Kendrick is like, I had a martini once, and it was chocolate, but I don't know if I can have it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So they go back to Blake's house, and it's very modern, and they're playing like French disco and Serge Gainsborough.
Is it a comedy?
No, but people are laughing because it's camp beyond camp. This Blake Lively character, there are pictures of her vagina, paintings of her vagina all over the apartment and everything. And they get drunk, and she gets the Anna Kendrick character to tell her a secret that's really juicy, that's real, like something that happened to her that's really amazing. And then she sort of has something on her, and she starts to use Anna Kendrick, like, will you pick up the kids? Will you take care of the kids tonight? Will you do this? Will you do that? And she calls and she says, I have just a simple favor, darling. We watch the kids tonight. I've got something to do. And then all of a sudden it's like 2 days and she hasn't come back, and 3 days she hasn't come back, 4 days, and all of a sudden she's missing. And we think that she might be dead, but everyone's like, nobody was really worried. And Anna Kendrick moves in with the husband, Henry Goulding, and starts to sort of take over her life. And she's,
fabulous. I love the construct. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. Is
Right. So she
Don't give it all away.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm going to take it up to a point. Well, she.
How is Henry though? Sorry.
Henry is so dreamy.
Does he have a personality in it?
He does. He does.
Good.
Do they make him wear clothes?
He's an author. He wrote one book 10 years ago, and he hasn't written anything since.
Writer's
That
block.
guy.
Yes. And so she's there, and she's helping him to write, and she's fixing meals for the kids, and she's dressing up in the outfits, and it's sort of like single white femaling. And then at one point, she throws all of Blake Lively's clothes away because she thinks that she's over and done, and she's getting her own. And then she comes back one afternoon, and the clothes are there again. And then she goes to pick up the kids from school, and the little boy says, I saw mommy today, and she said to say, she's watching you. And from that moment, you start to think, is she alive? Is she dead? With secrets start to come out, we realize that maybe two people are in on it together. Maybe it's a double cross. And by the end, the last half hour, it is a double cross after double cross after double cross after double cross after double cross. Like you never do you think these two people are in it? Then you think these two people are in it, and then these two people die, what it is I think it's a remake of Diabolique, the French,
Which I've heard of, but I've never seen.
It's Simone Signoret,
Yep.
where the mistress and the wife team up to get the husband. But we don't. But
I just want to say, this sounds like the best movie ever made.
I am worried now because I'm worried I'm going to go see this movie. It's going to be bitterly disappointing.
No.
I'm leaving work today with taking my Emmy to the movies.
Blake Lively is a revelation. She is born to play these types of roles. She's just fashioned down in that. The hair deserves an Oscar on its own.
A Pulitzer, a Nobel Peace Prize, something.
Okay, so that's a Simple Favor that is in theaters now.
Yeah.
Go see it. Number 5.
Number 5.
Baby shark do 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 do. Baby shark do 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 do.
Mama shark do 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 do. Mama shark do do.
I don't know what this is.
Papa shark do 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 do. Grandma shark do 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 do. Grandma shark do do.
Yes.
What is it talking? What happened?
It's the hashtag Baby Shark Challenge, right? And it's this earworm of a song. It's absolutely amazing. The cutest video you ever saw on the YouTube.
It's for kids. Like what was that? The fox says what the fox says. Remember a few years ago, the fox goes. Doo,
Yes.
doo, doo. Yes. This is sort of the same thing. It's
it's South Korean, but actually, interesting thing is, I thought it was a new song.
No.
But it's actually an old song. This is an old song that's a simple nursery
an
rhyme,
old standard.
like 20 years ago.
Well, apparently
it is,
they were
yeah.
saying, someone was saying that they remember it from the 70s from camp,
right.
and that there's mothers and kids are remembering this. They sing it together. It's an earworm like you've never heard before.
Right, I'm scared.
And when I had never heard of it, and I went around the office and I said Baby Shark, and every single person in the office went Baby Shark do 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 Baby Shark do.
So is it like
it,
a Baby Shark challenge? Are people recording videos
yes,
to it?
Yes, exactly. Oh,
Well,
thank
yes,
you.
there are thousands
the
of them.
official version, right, which was most recently released by 2015. It's a children's entertainment brand called Pinkfong, right? And they released it in 2015, and it's just gathered momentum. I think it's been seen, I think 3+ billion times now. It's interesting. It's the 34th most viewed YouTube video of all time, which is actually number 34. Considering it's everybody knows it, it feels like it should be higher. But
34 is pretty good.
34 out of 100 trillion.
well, there's 680 million children under the age of 4 in the world, and this is for them. And the video is very cute. It's like cutout sharks and a little kid starts singing it, and then another little kid. And it's basically, the story is this: there's a baby shark, and then mama shark comes along, and
Grandma shark and
grandma
grandpa shark.
and grandpa shark and daddy shark, and then
They go hunting.
They all go hunting, and little fish swim, and they're safe. And that's the end. And then you do it again, and again, and again, and again.
Can we have just a moment? Can you watch it real quick? Will you do it just so you have some context?
I don't mind learning. I'm going to call my nephew Brady after this and see if he knows, who's 4.5 years old.
Do Baby Shark and then put on, what is it, pink tone?
Pinkfong.
Pinkfong.
I just have to say that the beginning, it sounds like I thought it was the beginning of
Jaws. It is. Yeah.
It is not.
Oh, it's
I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's
Prokofiev, right?
No, Symphony Number 9.
Yeah, Prokofiev.
No, that's Dvorak.
Okay.
Dvorak. It's Dvorak.
Are these classical musical references that I don't understand?
How do you say Dvorak?
Dvorak.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dvorak. See, that's, oh my God.
But
Dorothy Dvorak from the Golden Girls.
It's Dvorak, Symphony Number 9.
But that's where John Huston John
Williams.
John Williams got the
motif.
Jaws theme.
Should I do that clean? Should I give you a clean one?
Yeah.
So, okay, so look, the interesting thing about the beginning of this is it sounds like the Jaws. It starts off, da-da. You think it's Jaws. It's actually not. It's
a classical song called
Symphony Number 9.
Symphony Number 9 by Dvorak, I think, which is where John Williams got the Jaws theme.
That. And the thing is, the reason it's at the beginning here as opposed to Jaws is that Dvorak's free.
Yeah.
It's never going to leave my head.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And there's potential danger. It begins with Jaws and threatening, and a whole family of sharks going out to fish, and the little fishes run away, and they're safe at last. So it's a very, no one dies, and
it's a complete 3-act story.
You have gone through, you are put through the ringer. You were so worried about these little fishies.
You are. And what more can I say? I mean, Gin and Tonic should do that.
I think it should be a lip sync song on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well, and there is also a hashtag Baby Shark Challenge. You can create your own, upload your own version, and there's lots. You can be lost.
I'm sure anything can happen to these kids. They can go on a picnic, go on a picnic,
It's watching people dance.
Have some cheese, have some cheese,
All right. Okay, so we take a quick break, shall we? Yeah.
Sure do.
Here's my question. Because we're talking about Baby Shark, which has been viewed billions of times, but what is the number one most watched video on YouTube? I wonder if you know. You're listening to The Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
Do.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
And we're back to welcome back. I'm Fedson here with Tom and James and Randy. Bro, Randy's left.
Randy was here.
Randy leaves an
We've got
aura.
the
and
fabulous
Blake.
Blake.
Hi.
Well, we had a question.
Yes, we did. And the question was, what is the number one most watched video on YouTube of all time?
Was it that first video, maybe?
What would that be?
I don't remember. It's not Lady Gaga. It's not.
I feel like it's a K-pop.
Yeah, right.
There you go. Yeah.
Who's the new?
Is it Psy? Is it? No, it can't be.
Gangnam Style. It was for the longest time Gangnam
Yeah.
Style, but Gangnam Style is number 6.
Is it like G-Dragon and
Despacito.
I was gonna say Despacito. Damn it.
Yep, 5.5 billion views, which is pretty cool, right?
Wow.
All right. Number 4, Tom.
Number 4.
American Horror Story.
Oh, lots to unpack.
I'm not going to do much better here. I was driving with Rainey to one of the Emmy parties, and he talked about Leslie Grossman. Saying, "Oh my God, she's on American Horror Story, and she's so good on it because she is."
Yes.
And so I started to try to explain to Randy what the show was about, and I gave up halfway through. So I don't know why I'm trying now. But we got out of the car. Here's a good part. Who was in the car before us? Leslie Grossman. So it was fabulous. The whole weekend was blessed with weird things like that.
Coincidences.
Which is why we went. It's American Horror Story Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Is that a clue? Is it some sort of revelations, strange things happening?
The idea is that they're bringing together Coven, like all of them, or just Coven?
Murder House and Coven.
Murder House,
yeah.
which was the first one, and the witch one, and it's chilling. And you said before I watched it, you said, you know how like Ryan Murphy, who won at the Emmys, who gave an amazing speech. His shows go off the rails at like 4 or 5 episodes. You said it went off the rails about 15 minutes in.
Well, the first 20 minutes are absolutely amazing. Because the first 20 minutes is the world,
apocalypse is happening, and we're in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, and everybody is scrambling to try, and they know you have about half an hour before the world ends.
Yes.
The world has just gone mad. Some people are going to be able to escape through.
Well, we find out Leslie Grossman is from a really rich family, and her parents get her there. We're in Hong Kong. We can't take advantage of this, but we have 4 seats on an airplane in Santa Monica. Go there, get on the
private
plane.
jet, and the private jet will take you to a bunker, an underground
to a safer
bunker,
place, and then they explode. Her parents go away.
Yeah, and then so Leslie Grossman, and then Evan Peters and his grandmother Joan Collins, who is playing Joan Collins.
Joan Collins. Watch for Joan Collins.
Yeah. Evan Peters.
Come for the apocalypse. Stay for Joan Collins.
They all manage to sneak onto the plane. They get onto the plane. The plane leaves. The plane is being auto-driven. It's like it's a drone plane,
and there's mushroom clouds all below them. And the other scene was there's this one kid who they break into the house and they take this one child who's gotten to college.
The government breaks in, comes in, and says, "Listen, we're going to save your
Pull him from his parents.
Your son because he is genetically perfect, and we need him for the aftermath."
And they know that because he took a DNA test, one of those like
Ancestry.com, and so they know that he has perfect genes
to survive because they've been looking at all of the gene tests that we all do voluntarily.
Ancestry.com is really all about finding the perfect genetic specimen for after the end of the world.
So then they all, and so some people are there and, because they paid $100 million to be there, which is how they
we're
funded.
In an underground bunker.
Yes,
right.
Which has lots of fireplaces and stuff.
No electricity. Everyone's dressed in Edwardian gowns, and everybody
for no good
we've
reason.
Gone back down. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
and Sarah Paulson, who's being very severe, and what's her name? It's
Kathy Bates.
But Kathy Bates are both like the
headmistresses,
and they're sadistic.
Yes,
like we find out that they killed someone for having radiation poisoning, and he didn't. They're just like, we love this, but and it spans over a year. They only have so much food.
They have gelatin cubes. They eat a gelatin cube for dinner, and that has all the nutrients in it, but it just tastes boring.
Well, and there's supposed to be like 9 of these bunkers around, but
the word is that they're all falling apart all across.
And there's only the one bunker left.
Because there's pussy people out there who are trying to break in. We haven't seen them yet.
We
but
like
we
sort
heard
of
about them.
zombie-like people.
But also Sarah Paulson and Kathy Bates are the ones that like turned against the overlords that were putting together.
Yes, well, they're just kind of left to their own devices, and they're sadistic. On top of it's the apocalypse and they're in their bunker.
Okay, now but here's the part. Okay, because our dear
so
friend.
What point? How many? This is like 5 minutes in at this point.
Yeah,
we're about
11
40
minutes.
Yeah. Our gentleman friend that we love so much,
Jeffrey Bauer Chapman.
Jeffrey Bauer Chapman is one of the people who has survived, and he's with his lover Stu, right?
Yes.
And this is one of those unfortunate sloppy writing things where all of a sudden they drag Stu away and they kill him. And then that night they say, "Look, we're having soup for dinner." And,
Stew.
And all of a sudden there's like fingernails in the soup, and it's that Rocky Horror scene.
What's wrong with that, James?
Okay, I'll tell you what's wrong with that. Is that all of a sudden Jeffrey Bauer Chapman looks down at the soup and says, "The stew is stew,"
which I thought he performed brilliantly.
And it's one of the. It's like, oh come on, really? You named the character Stew so that you could make him into stew.
But my favorite,
it's so
but
sloppy.
it's saved by Joan Collins, who says, "I don't care what it's made of; it's delicious, and I'm savoring every bite." Like they do give her great, and they have. She starts off with her before the apocalypse. She's like, "This champagne is burnt," which is a line from Dynasty. So they are having some gay fun with the whole thing. Now, there's all these other characters, Cheyenne Jackson. There's in the credits that we haven't seen yet. So I don't know if we're gonna flash back. Maybe this is one where it goes off the rail and comes back on the rail. I'm hoping.
Well, I'm hoping that this episode, the witches come back and we have Jessica Lange and we have all the other witches.
All right. Is this going to be the last one? Or?
No. Are you kidding? He'll never stop.
Roll.
All right. So that's what is it?
American Horror Story Apocalypse.
Every Wednesday at 10 p.m. on FX.
All right, thank you. Number 3, James.
Number 3.
You know, I remember a few weeks ago, Tom had told us about Byron Allen, the 80s comedian who was never funny. And he had a talk show that was just terrible.
And still plays late at night.
Still plays. He goes to junkets and he gets the stars, but it's just dreary and awful. You never understand how he manages to be such a star. But Byron Allen somehow got his hand on $300 million and bought the Weather Channel. Okay? Now, he has then went and pumped another $100 million into this new augmented reality storm graphic, okay?
Well, I did what you told me to do.
And it is
I watched it.
Unbelievable. It is absolutely spectacular. What it is,
Tell us.
You have, there's a woman who's,
She's standing on the street.
Her name is Erica Navarro, and she's a weather girl, and weather woman, weather person.
Weather chick.
Yeah, weather person. And she's doing the green screen graphics that we've seen a million times, and you're thinking like, well, whatever, this isn't that spectacular. Well, all of a sudden she says, well, that's not all. And it goes to, she's in the middle of a flood, right? She's in the middle of a street. She's in the middle of a street, and you see a car and trees, going back and forth and everything, and it's really beautiful. And then she says, now, if the floods go, if it turns 3 feet, and she bends down and she lifts her hands up, and the water rises 3 feet around her, and you start to see like things in the water around her, and she says, at this point, you're gonna be swept off your feet, and you're gonna be blah blah blah. And she says, but that's not all. If it goes to 6 feet, and then she, like a witch, like she rises the
and
water
Dora.
again. Yes, the water rises to 6 feet.
Very biblical, isn't it? It's like parting the Red Sea.
It is. It's very Charlton. Charlton Heston's the fuck out of
The
this.
greatest story ever told.
She says, and at this point, there's going to be debris floating around, and you see debris. And she says, cars might be floating towards you. The car comes flying towards you.
That was a good detail, wasn't it? Because you suddenly realize that floating in the water with a car is not a good idea.
Yeah, she says, you aren't going to be able to swim in this because there's going to be electricity, there's going to be toxins. She says, but that's not all. When it goes to 9 feet, and the water is like 9 feet above her, and she's like, it's absolutely spectacular.
But here's the thing. I mean, it's great. 100 million for the graphics, great. But how else do you use it? I mean, for an ordinary rainstorm, it's going to be 1 inch of rain. How is that going to play? How are you going to use this amazing
I imagine it's
technology
mostly for
apocalyptic events? So I guess he knows something we don't. That maybe
but I imagine
They're more
the demons rise.
They're more frequent.
But we will be inside hurricanes. We'll be inside tornadoes. We will be, there's going to be, when earthquakes happen, we're going to get to the size of, I imagine that every weather event, there is something spectacular going on.
Clearly counting on a lot of extreme
And don't you think that that we are entering into a world where there's more extreme weather?
Every weather event becomes a movie starring The Rock.
It's true. It is. I was thinking that this is actually
On the Weather
better
Channel.
than a Rock movie. The CGI is more impressive
It's
than
not that good. I mean, come on.
Well, it's the beginning.
Oh, now come on! You're just jealous that you didn't buy the Weather Channel.
The Rock is so much better than anything. If they had The Rock doing the weather graphics, that would
I'm
be
bad
good.
because I didn't watch the video by Will, but is there a drag race challenge in this?
The
Can we do it? Can we do it?
race challenge is anything.
Is there augmented reality weather reporting?
That's the.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to go to the WoW report to see
The
that
graphics.
incredible
That's pretty
graphics.
spectacular.
James, for you, I have number 2.
Number 2.
Murder, She Wrote, and She Did. The story of Nancy Brophy, real life true crime writer. No, not true crime writer. She's a crime writer. And her most famous series of books, she's self-published. So nothing wrong with being self-published these days, but she's a successful self-published author who's written a whole series of books. The Wrong, The Wrong Brother, The Wrong Lover, The Wrong Cop, all these sort of tales of forbidden love. In fact, in one of them, she wrote about a woman who spent every day of her marriage fantasizing about killing her husband. And so then in November of 2011, she writes a blog post, which is actually called, what was the blog post called? How to Murder Your Husband. Yes, How to Murder Your Husband. And she runs through all the different ways to murder your husband. And she's like, I'm just a true crime writer exploring this idea. Oh, crime writer. I'm blowing my own story because basically, long story short, she was just arrested for murdering her husband.
And did she murder him in the way that she laid out in the blog?
She did. One of the things in the blog she said is that guns were a good way, but kind of messy, and that you have to know how to handle them.
Yeah.
But she did indeed. He was a cook, and she shot him.
Huh. And she was caught. Was she caught immediately?
No. So he was found dead in his kitchen. He was a sort of chef teacher type person. He was found dead at work in June, and she wasn't in fact arrested until August. So she got away with it for a long time. Unfortunately, the reason why the motive has been placed under seal by the judge, so we're not entirely sure why she wanted to murder her husband.
Sounds like she had been thinking about it for a while, though.
I'm single, but
like
who
it.
doesn't want to murder their husband at some point? I would imagine.
She did say in another blog post, "My husband and I are both on our second and final, trust me, marriage. We vowed prior to saying I do that we would not end divorce. We did not, I should note, rule out a tragic drive-by shooting or a suspicious accident." I have a feeling, James, you've read this story,
I
right?
have read the story.
Why do you think she did it?
Well, she does not look like a very happy person. She's she's poor thing. She looks like somebody who has been through the mill.
Well, what kind of Mel? Do you think he beats her? Do you think he's having an affair?
Peppermill, all speculation. Here's the thing. She sounds, they talk about the stupidest criminal. She sounds like a Batman criminal from the 60s show. It's kind of like, I'm going to tell you what I'm about to do.
Yes,
and then
or James Bond
it.
villain. This is how you're going to die, Mr. Bond. We're going to put the laser, and we're going to start. It's going to take 3 hours.
And I'm going to start it now and leave the room.
Yes.
She identifies 5 possible motives, and maybe it's all of them. 1 is financial. 2 is fell in love with someone else.
Oh, no.
Sure, finance or romance.
Abuser.
Ooh,
Yes, I think that's what
sad.
it is.
And then this is the interesting one. She says, it's your profession. And she says, now we're talking. You already possess, and I guess she's talking of herself as the motive, both skill and knowledge. You have the moral ambiguity necessary to carry it off. Quick hit, and you fade from the scene. Get your payment up front from someone else because life insurance probably won't send a check. So,
Well, I mean, that's like the people who drift into certain professions. They do so because they have that, propensity in them.
Right.
Whereas, they say that not all priests are child molesters, but many child molesters become priests because they know that that's how
Access.
where they have access, and they'll be hidden by people and so. So I imagine that maybe wife murderers and husband murderers would become true crime novelists. Because they explore in their head the many ways to off people.
I would rather think of this as an exception that rather than there's some societal rule that we can just be like, yes, well, of course, if you write a murder mystery, didn't you write a book about murder, James?
Hell, he did.
But I do have a bit of moral ambiguity, and I do think that.
Oh well, we can use this tape in court.
Oh, and she says orange isn't her color, but I think moving forward, it's going to be.
Orange is the new black.
Hey.
All right, so that's Nancy Brophy, and she's coming up for trial, I think, later in October.
Lock her up.
It's bound to be a
Lock her
Netflix
up.
movie soon, James.
Oh,
so
definitely,
you can tell us more about it then. All right.
Sideburn. Ooh, shady.
I've been so supportive and so excited for you all day, and what do I get? I get shit on once again.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll reveal the number one thing that made us go, wow, this week. And I think we have a Resistor of the week as well. You're listening to The Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton. I'm here with Tom and James and Blake, and we've been counting down the top 10 things that made us go wow. Except this week, of course, we just did 7 because the top 3, 10, 9, and 8, were our little triumph at the Emmys.
What? Emmy? What?
Oh, yeah. I think. So our number 1 this week.
Number 1.
It's bittersweet. A really good friend of mine and Randy and RuPaul's, a friend to us all really, Dick Richards, who was the founder of Funtone Records and the creator of the American Music Show. And he lived in Atlanta, and many people, of course, have discovered RuPaul. In fact, well, there's no discovering RuPaul because RuPaul discovered it himself.
Correct.
But along the way, Ru went to Atlanta and went on the American Music Show.
Which was?
a cable access show.
The kids don't know what cable access
in
is.
the living room. It was a public access show. It was a show just made on a dime and a dream. And it was made in Dick Richards' living room on his house on Adolphus Street. It's so weird. I remember the number, 1714 Adolphus Street. Front living room, the American Music Show. It was a crazy...
Kind of like a talk show, variety show.
Talk show, variety show, zoo show, rolling chaos. But so many acts came out of it. The Singing Peak Sisters, la 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 la.
Deandra Peak, yes.
Deandra Peak.
Phoebe Leger, apparently, yeah.
Angie Bowie.
Angie
She had
Bowie.
to go somewhere after.
The Now Explosion with Larry Chi and Lahoma.
Rue's first band, Wee Wee Pole.
Yeah,
Wee Wee Pole.
and some fabulous Pop
Oh,
Tarts.
yes, the
Randy and
fabulous
Fenton's
Pop-Tarts.
group.
We went on the show. And then, of course, Dick really, I mean, there are many stories of how we met RuPaul, and we can't really remember, but Dick was instrumental because we were in Atlanta and we saw Ru wheat pasting, and he made the connection and introduced us.
And is that picture in the Wow book, that group picture?
It's a fabulous
of Ru?
picture.
We should post that.
No,
will.
but
Because
Dick
that's
isn't,
an amazing
Dick
moment.
took the picture. Dick isn't in the picture.
No, but it's
On
captures
the front porch?
It captures
Yes.
that moment. It's his house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
On
my
the front
God.
porch of his house with David Goldman, Michael Musto, Trade, Albert Crudo.
How'd you know
myself,
about him
and
from New
Randy.
York? Do you remember?
How did you meet Dick?
How do we need to? The Pop Tarts.
Because he was in
were
Atlanta
playing-
and you guys were in New
That's
York.
right. The Pop Tarts were playing in.
Were you touring?
We were on tour, I'm just saying. And we were in Atlanta doing a gig, and that's how we met Dick. And he took us around, and there was RuPaul wheat pasting pictures of himself.
I do want to mention
As
that
one does.
last night that RuPaul mentioned Dick at the
Yes.
top of his speech and said that he wanted to thank Dick Richards. Dick had been suffering from leukemia for 9 years, I believe, and it had been sort of a hard time for his friends. But it's a beautiful.
You know, the thing about Dick was, I mean, look, you know, we're all crazy, and Dick was just, nothing bothered him. He was always so sweet and loving, and even when people were assholes or bitter or twisted, he'd just go, oh, well. You know, that lovely quality of stonedness, and I'm not saying he was stoned, but he had that perpetual glow of someone
southern,
He could
that
roll with
laid
it.
back.
He rolled with everything.
And he was also a childhood best friend with Nelson Sullivan, who is the spiritual godfather of World of Wonder. And they both have that same sort of quality
And
about
Nelson
them.
spent most of the 80s documenting the club scene with his video camera, his big old video camera.
Right.
And those things are on YouTube, and they're fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
So you can check out the American Music Show on YouTube. You can check out Nelson Sullivan's videos on YouTube, and Funtone Records, who had the best slogan of all, which was, if it ain't fun, don't do it. And I think that's a great,
Wow.
it's good for life.
Yeah, there's a
Wow.
Funtone museum online in which there's like hundreds and hundreds of videos from the American Music Show that are just fascinating.
And what was it you just posted, James? The Funtone on the Wow Report?
yeah, well, we did sort of a little tribute to him with a lot of friends talking about Dick, and it's sort of interesting.
And it is amazing to see, and there's lots of other performers, but it's amazing at this moment this week to see RuPaul on that show.
Yes.
And how extremely not mainstream or center or legitimate or whatever it was, just how out there and
Unpolished, I think, is the
but it
word.
was just a full wild expression to the Emmy stage.
Yes. And yet also fully formed. The RuPaul you see
Yeah.
in those shows.
Oh, yeah.
Bar, some waiter boots and some ratty old wigs. It's the same RuPaul. It's the same
well,
energy.
mentally,
it's
the same energy, but I always wonder, would RuPaul be able to get on RuPaul's Drag Race in that incarnation?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Time changes everything in a
I just
beautiful
want
way.
to say this. I love Dick.
Oh, we all do.
Who's our Resistor of the Week?
Well, now we're taking a sharp right turn here because we're going back to Stormy Daniels, who
Dick would approve of this, I think.
I think so. Stormy Daniels is releasing a book, and some of the
Tell all.
Yeah, some of the
I
little
can't
snippets
wait.
are dripping out, and she is meant, so to speak. It came out today that she's talked a little bit about her sexual encounter with Donald Trump, and she has described in graphic detail the presidential penis. She says that it's smaller than you would think, but it's not unusually small. But it has a weird mushroom head that is enormous. She said it looks. She said it's surrounded by Yeti fur, and that when she's having sex with him, that it was like having sex with a Mario Kart character. That's how she describes the penis. She goes on to say that she thought that it was the most unremarkable sex she'd ever had, but he thought it was fantastic. And then afterwards, he says that they were sitting there post-coitally, talking, and he took a phone call from Hillary Clinton, and they spoke about their plan. Which makes me, I don't know, that seems a little strange.
What year was this? Do we
This is
remember?
like 2003. No, wait, no,
Six, I
This is
think.
2006. So it's when she's running against Barack.
They always have to throw Hillary into things.
I know.
I'm completely believing the Yeti hair and the mushroom dick, but I don't know about
I
this
get
Hillary.
the mushroom thing's like a sort of like atomic bomb prefigured. Just
it's
grotesque. And the Yeti fur. What a brilliant description. Because you know it's right. You know it's true, and it's got a certain flair.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeti fur.
I love it.
Good news for our international viewers. You can now watch season 7 of RuPaul's Drag Race Revealed exclusively on Wow Presents Plus. Sign in for Wow Presents Plus at wow-presents.com. And almost the last reminder, RuPaul's Drag Con, New York City, September 28th, 29th, and 30th at the Jacob Javits Center. If you use the promo code RadioAndy, that's all one word, 10% discount. Tickets at RuPaul'sDragCon.com.
Get them now because it's next weekend.
Yes.
That's all we've got.
We did it.
Whew, I'm exhausted. I don't know how you guys managed to come in today.
I know,
I would have
it's
taken
tough.
the day off.
Same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.